Hey guys, MJisk75 here. You read the title, you know what we're doing today. I'm going to be comparing this real clone and this fake clone, but before I do that, let me first state that this is never a video that I intended or really ever wanted to make. You know, people make these kinds of videos, and I'm not saying they shouldn't, but this is just not something that I ever wanted to do, but because the opportunity has arisen, I have decided to go on ahead and make one of these videos. So I think it is worth mentioning how I ended up with this fake clone. For reference, the one on the right, this one here is the real clone. This one here is the fake non-Lego clone. And I do not know which sort of counterfeiting people made this clone, and if I did, I would not mention them in this video anyway, because I don't want to give them any more publicity than they already have. But the important thing is that this clone is the genuine Lego version, and this one is the fake version. And I ended up with this fake clone by buying a used Lego set from a local Lego store in my area that sells, you know, used Lego sets, bulk parts, stuff like that. And more than likely, I will be telling them about what happened when I return there, but until then, this is what I have. So I bought this clone with a V19 Torrent. It was in the cockpit. I did not get a good look at it. I assumed it was this clone because that's what it looked like in the cockpit, with kind of the transparent gray kind of obscuring a lot of this lack of detail and just really screwed up looking clones. So when I got it and I brought it home and I inspected it as to take a look and see if there are any missing pieces, which there weren't really any missing pieces. There was one piece I think that I ended up changing out for the actual piece from the set. But other than that, it was pretty good. It was complete. So, but other than that, I knew I was getting the wrong figure, but I did not know I was going to be getting a fake Lego Clone Trooper figure. So let's take a look at these two figures now. Once again, the one on the right is the real Lego clone, and the one on the left is the fake clone. So these are the two clones that we have, and I know that this one is fake because I have identified it with the copyright and Lego logos on the right clone and not on the left clone. Taking a look at this printing here, we will kind of zoom in to get a better look at that. There is no leg printing on either of these figures, as from the 2013 gunship which this clone came from, they did not have leg printing on a lot of the figures yet. So if we take a look at these two things, you can see that the prints are actually pretty similar, and if I remove the helmets, then we'll probably get a bit better lighting on those, and you'll probably see the heads, which I will also talk about. But taking a look at these torsos here, you can see that the Lego one has a lot of more dark lines and generally looks a lot better. A lot of the depth stuff, like this plate here, is looking a bit more accurate. Just overall, I think there's more detail on this Lego figure than the non-Lego figure. The non-Lego counterpart is obviously trying to emulate this print, but is doing not a very good job. I think the biggest difference on here is the differences in sort of the respirator packs. If you can look, the one from Lego doesn't have really a whole lot going on the underside, on the bar on the other underside, and it doesn't really use a whole lot of dark gray or anything, but this one is pretty much entirely gray. This one is more white than gray, even though this one does use a bit, but this one is way more gray. And a lot of the lines on here are gray and not kind of like the fading gray like that is on this clone here, but there's just a lot of gray, and the darker gray lines are a bit more noticeable. All the gray on this fake clone is a bit darker, and it is quite noticeable if you get to look at it up close. So obviously the Lego one is better in my opinion. This one, really, they tried to do a lot of the depth stuff with the torso, but because of how they printed the gray lines, it really just didn't work. Taking a look at the two heads here, you can definitely see a difference. The regular Lego one looks kind of like it normally would. You know, it has its standard face and all that stuff. But this fake one, the printing is a lot lighter. If for some reason the sort of cheekbones and the chin and that stuff are a bit more orange on the fake figure for whatever reason, as well as the whole print being kind of scrunched together or shifted up from the base of the head a bit, which is quite noticeable. And it does look pretty bad. And if we do turn around to the back of these two figures here before I put back on the helmets, you can see a scuff on the fake one there. taking a look at these two. Once again, pretty much the same as the front of the torso. The fake one has darker gray and generally just more gray, and it's not nearly as well defined, so a lot of the stuff that on the regular clone that would look like it's kind of popping out of the torso print and is kind of giving that illusion of 3D just looks really bad in 2D on this clone trooper. So really bad. But one thing that you will notice if I zoom out a bit to show the legs is that the legs on this fake figure are actually bent, which is kind of why maybe this one looks a bit taller. It might also be due to the pieces, and I'm noticing now that the difference in the heads between these two figures is really weird. This one being a bit more of a squared off shape, this one being a bit more rectangular and being stretched up a bit, if you can see that. But these legs, they are actually crooked, they are not straight. So I could not get him down on the studs all the way, and I didn't really want to get him down on the studs all the way. But yeah, so that's pretty much the back, and now we'll move back towards the front where I will replace the helmets for both of these figures. The Lego brand helmet going on here and the fake one going on here. And once again, it is a pretty similar story to the torso and face and other prints that we've looked at. In general, the lines on the fake version have much more dark gray, and they're not kind of that lighter gray that is on the actual clone pilot. As well as just kind of looking weird. It does look quite strange. And one thing that I did kind of notice here that I don't know if it'll show up on camera or not, it does appear to be slightly, but right over here, kind of in the visor section, there's this strange kind of like really faded red box, and I don't know what that was from or why it's there, but it just makes the whole figure look worse. And I think in addition that this mold just looks really bad compared to the actual trooper. Don't think that they copied this mold precisely. And again, just looking at the top of the helmet here, it becomes much more noticeable if I bend both these figures forward. And I will talk about how stiff these figures are and stuff in a minute. The helmet molds themselves, you can see that this one, the Lego one, has the nice fin, but this one just kind of has a weird rounded off thing, and it just looks kind of weird. And also with the two sort of Republic insignias here, you can see on the regular one, I did not get a great print on this, and the sort of yellow markings are kind of shifted this way a bit, but the yellow markings are not touching the Red Republic insignias, and that's what I want you to notice, because on this one they are much, I believe the insignias are much bigger and they are much closer to this yellow here, so it does look like the two are kind of bleeding together, which I don't think was what whoever made this intended it to look like. But so those are all the prints. As far as posability goes, this Lego figure here is much more loose. I have a much easier time posing it than this non-Lego figure. This one is very stiff. You have to work pretty hard to get this thing to rotate or move its arms or anything. And just the plastic in general, I think the Lego ABS plastic, which I believe this was made out of, is very nice. It looks very good. But this plastic, you can tell it's much cheaper. It looks shinier, and it just looks worse overall. The texture between these two is definitely noticeable. As you can see, this one is a lot less shiny, and this one is a lot more shiny. So overall, I think that about rounds out all of my comparisons. I think it is quite obvious that I prefer the Lego brand figure here, the actual official figure, and not this fake figure from somewhere online. And now I guess I'll talk about the fake figures and kind of my opinions on them, because I think that for this comparison, that's something that you guys should probably know and take into account, my opinions on faking figures and faking and ripping off Lego for monetary gain. I have seen a lot of people trying to sell fake figures on eBay. Luckily, most of the ones that I've run into have said that they are not Lego brand. And for those who try to pass off fake things as real Lego brand products, I really have no appreciation. I really don't care about anyone who does that. And if you're going to do that, please just listen that it's not Lego. Don't trick people. Don't be that kind of person. Because if you trick people, and I find out about it, I'm definitely not going to order anything from you on eBay. And I'm definitely, if I do happen to order something off eBay that does happen to be fake, I will definitely make a video about it. I don't know if I'd call it the seller or not, but I would definitely make a video saying that this is a thing that's happening. And really overall, anyone who's just trying to make this, anyone who is trying to sell this, whoever sold this to the store that I bought it from in my local area, which I am not going to name due to not only my privacy but their privacy as well. I don't want to tarnish their store just for this one thing. I think that they do good stuff, and I really appreciate having a store like theirs in my area. But this is just a really unfortunate thing. Anyone who makes these, sells these, tries to sell these to other people knowing they're counterfeit, shame on you. I could be a lot more vulgar and use a lot worse language, but I think I will refrain from that in this video. But I really have no sympathy for anyone who tries to do stuff like this. This is one of the worst things that I see in the Lego sort of hobby in circles, in my opinion. People will try to buy these and say, it's cheaper, which it is, but you're also getting a much cheaper product, and it is just much worse overall for not only the community, but for you as well, because you are allowing these things into your home to maybe eventually get sold off as actual figures, from whether it be you sell them to someone else or something happens and someone sells them for you under the premise that they are real figures. And to anyone out there who is thinking of making these sorts of things or does make these things, please don't. If you do, please stop. I don't want to have to make any more of these videos. But in the event that I do get any more fake figures like this, I will be making more videos comparing them. Kind of just to sum up my opinions on fake figures and fake rip-off Lego in general. I'm not going to name any brands. I'm sure that many of you know what kind of brands and companies I'm talking about, but anyone who tries to rip off a product, not only Lego, but any sort of other product, and copy it exactly, and basically just make it cheaper and resell it, you're not doing good business. People will eventually catch on, and probably eventually you will either get sued into oblivion by the company or whatever that you ripped their product off, or people will just stop buying from you because they know that you're using shady business practices and being pretty much just an all-around bad person and scum, and not buy from you, and then you'll go out of business, and that will probably be the end of that. So, just please don't do this. I don't want to have to make any more of these, as I stated already. And yeah, so it's very unfortunate that we have problems like this in the community, and I will probably make another video down the line talking about this in more detail, but that's kind of my unscripted rant on this sort of thing. So if you want to see me do more of these, I hope not to, but if I do, I will probably make a playlist sometime down the road of these types of videos. If I end up with more of these figures, I'm really hoping not, but if you own a store that buys used Lego off of people and resells them, I would just, if you want to take one thing away from this video, I would just say inspect what you get, inspect your figures, inspect your sets, inspect your bulk. Just make sure, especially in stuff that you sell, not in bulk quantities that people can pick through, like this I got in something that you can't really pick through. Just really have an eye for detail. Know what the real figures look like, and I know that can be hard to distinguish at times, but if you have real, genuine Lego figures in your store, which I would assume that you do, if you just hold two of them up together, they don't even have to be the same figure. It's really easy to tell the difference. The plastics, the posability, the figure is just really stiff, and if you have the same figure, you can definitely notice the difference in printing on these two things. So if there's one thing as a store owner that I think you should take away from this video, it's inspect any stock you get before you buy it. If someone's trying to sell you fake stuff, I wouldn't accept it if I was owning a store, but you're running the store, you make the calls. I'm not going to make the calls for you. And maybe if you know it's fake and you bought it from someone, maybe you buy it intentionally and just advertise it as not real Lego. That's always helpful to consumers, that they know what they're buying. I don't fault the store necessarily that I bought this from for this. Maybe they had some level of responsibility in this. I do not know. But I more or less fault the person who sold this figure to the store It may be for real cash, or maybe in exchange for an actual Lego figure, and that's what I think the real downfall of stuff like this is that we are kind of polluting the waters with fake figures and fake parts and fake sets like this. So as far as destroying this figure goes, I wasn't originally going to dispose of it privately off camera, just throw it away and never see it again. But I honestly don't think that this figure deserves that sort of a nice fate. I think that it deserves much worse, and I will be giving it much worse. However, unfortunately, at the time of recording this video, I do not have the necessary supplies to conduct such a thing, so hopefully by next week I will have filmed a video of me destroying this figure, but look out for that. And it will be pretty neat. I do have some ideas. I'm thinking about maybe sawing it in half, putting it in a shredder, the CD sort of drive. If you have a shredding machine, then maybe you have like a CD slot. I'm thinking of maybe slicing it up into small pieces and putting it through there. Smashing it with a hammer is always a great one. Sanding it down is another really fun one. Lighting it on fire is not something that I really want to do that much, because I really don't want to inhale the fumes from burning a fake plastic figure that badly. But I do have quite a few ideas, and if you have any other ideas, let me know down in the comments section below if for other things that you want to see me do to this figure, whatever it might be. I don't know if I'll be able to do a lot of it, but maybe we'll get some cool ideas and we will see what we can do about that. I'm probably going to film it though on the weekend that this comes out, so if you want to comment on that, get your comments in sooner rather than later so that I can figure out what to do for such a thing. But that is it for this video. I'm really, really, really sad that stuff like this even exists, and really unhappy that people try to sell it as maybe not as real Lego, but in place of real Lego at least. So I'm really sad that this video had to happen. But I made it anyway, so I guess that's going to wrap up this video. This video is already 17 minutes long at least. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I have a review coming out tomorrow, just kind of the regular schedule. And next week, hopefully, I will be destroying this figure. If not, then I'll just have another video go up then. But see you guys in another video, hopefully. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.